From the shadowed peaks of the Salt Lake Valley to the mist-covered banks of the Hudson Valley and all across the globe, the signal drifts through the night. This is Midnight Signals. Now, here are your hosts, Sergeant Shenanigator and Alien Mike.
Alien Mike, what's going on tonight, man?
Oh, another day in paradise. How are you doing?
I'm living the dream, whatever that is.
Yeah, you and me both.
So, before we begin the chaos tonight, a big shout out to Colin and the Horrific Podcast for letting us come on his show last night and dissect what I believe is a truly spectacular movie.
I'm sick, Steve. Don't make me laugh. The greatest, 5 stars. Go see it.
I will tell you guys out there right now, if you want to watch something you're going to stand up and go, what the hell was that? Beyond the Sky. But just know you've been warned.
There was so many parts of that movie that, like we said last night, everybody that worked on that film put 10 ideas in a bowl and threw it against a wall and said, not those, the one that's on the floor. And none of it made sense. No plot line. It was just ridiculous.
Oh, so if you haven't checked that out, jump on over to the Horrific Podcast and watch last night's episode and just be ready to see us annihilate a movie. I think all three of us in the end agreed it was one of those movies that should have never been made.
It was honestly, like we said last night, that it was made around the time that the big UFO craze started taking off, and I feel like they just kind of jumped on the bandwagon and threw everything that had to do with it, with UFO or paranormal in some form, into that movie, just to try to make it big as quick as they could.
The movie was called Beyond the Sky, made in 2018. I had the director's name because I wanted to look it up after the show last night. Luckily, he's only directed 2 movies, that one and one other that I don't even want to watch. Other than that, he's a visual effects guy, which explains the end of the movie.
Oh, is he?
That's mostly what he does is visual effects.
Well, he should have stuck with that.
He really should have.
Because, like what we said last night, the ending, the way the visuals were at the end, the very end, were good.
If
everything else,
if I were to ever start a dance club near a college, I would have him design it.
Yeah, for sure.
So tonight, we were thinking this was going to be something really, really easy.
Why do we do that every single time?
We have now decided that this is going to be our first 2-part episode.
Yeah, it's I don't know. We decided to go to every 2 weeks and then decided to make this the last episode before we did that. And I thought it would be easy because I've read about disclosure stuff for quite a long time. And I thought I knew quite a bit about it. Apparently, I don't know shit. There is so much that goes into it.
I felt too. And again, we've talked about patterns in the past, and this is a pattern that just kind of starts tying things together.
Yeah. Yep.
So tonight we are talking about AAWSAP, AATIP, what's the UAP
Task Force.
Yep. And then getting into the Congressional hearings and the whistleblowers.
Yep. Well, you didn't mention one, and I don't know if that was intentional.
I keep forgetting about it, and I've got it right there looking at it.
Yeah, AARO. Honestly, didn't, as much as I researched stuff about this, I didn't know about this until the other day, listening to some random podcast. And
I didn't know about OSAP or AARO.
yeah, see, I knew about every other one, but this one kind of threw me, and I'm still trying to figure out the connection between that one lady.
So yeah, this is going to be a 2-part episode. So 2 weeks from today, we will go on to what's next, and I think you're going to like where we go for the second part. This first part could be a little dry, but it's important on how it leads up to why the congressional hearings and why the whistleblowers.
Right. And that's perfectly put. So, Nadine, honestly, the best part to start at, if you want to research any of it, is do the 2023 congressional hearing that they did with David Grush and David Fravor, and there's a Graves, and there's a bunch of people in it. But you can find that one and the 2025 one on YouTube.
Yeah. And honestly, from what Alien Mike and I have found so far, even after the whistleblower segments, there's still parts we're missing.
Yeah,
there's still things in between everything that's going on.
The way, the only, I guess, way I could explain it is what I said before we started, that in this movie I'm watching, they talked about all of them, the pre-organizations being underground and not putting anything for Freedom of Information Act, and they had to contract it that way so nobody could find the information. So I think that's kind of one of the key factors here is we know about the whistleblowers, but we can't find anything else because they're hiding it.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on between.
So with that, are you ready to get this started?
Let's hit it.
We're going to go down. I think this time we're going to go down the rabbit hole and start digging up.
Okay, where do you want to start at on this one?
We're going to start with OSAP.
Okay.
All right. So back in 2007, the government, the Department of Defense, realized that there was a problem, and nobody wanted to talk about it because, pilots didn't want to report having dealings with anything unusual or unidentified for fear of losing their career.
Oh, yeah.
But they had to start reporting something.
Yeah.
So the Defense Intelligence Agency got involved. A man by the name of James Lakatsky. He was the senior scientist for the Defense Intelligence Agency. And he said there's phenomenon going on out there. There are things that are putting our next generation aircraft to shame.
Oh yeah.
But nobody came out and said it's aliens or anything like that. They're saying it could be a foreign adversary testing new equipment, but there is something out there that we need to pay attention to. The only problem is nobody was giving them the money to study this.
Yeah, they tried for quite a long time to get that, and I mean, you said it right. It was career ending. They thought you were nuts, and they would just essentially decommission you. You would no longer be
like the Philadelphia experiment. They stamped that unfit for military service.
Yep, and you're out.
Done. You don't you don't even get to fly a commercial airline when you get out. You're just finished.
No. So and that's what led to them seeking Senator, right? Senator.
Yep, they reached out to Senator Harry Reid and begged him to take a look at what they were talking about. And Harry Reid looked at it, hooked up with Senator Stevens, and I can never pronounce the guy's name.
Give it your best go, because I struggled to.
Just another senator. I'm not even going to.
There we go.
If the government happens to be listening to us tonight, I don't want them to go, Yeah, not only are these guys catching on to stuff, but that one in the hat is stupid.
Yeah. Which one?
It could go either way.
Yeah.
So they created a program called the Advanced Aerospace Weapons System Application Program, or AAWSAP. I really think it's a stupid acronym, but
Dude,
that's what it is.
I've thought they were all stupid, to be honest with you.
I did too. And the reason they created this is because not only were pilots reporting things out there, I mean, it wasn't localized out over the sea. I mean, they were spotting things over Air Force bases, over training centers. You know, not many of them have said we've spotted it out near Area 51, but yes, Nellis Air Force Base has had some reports as well.
Yep.
So they funded this. It wasn't I mean, for 2007, it was a good funding for just a research, but they funded $22 million to this program.
Yep. Well, I mean, kind of backtrack a little bit. Think about, it got started in 2007. Think about when the Tic Tac video hit, which is kind of what instigated or initiated all of it.
Yep.
It took them 3 years of begging and pleading and trying to find somebody to fund this, because nobody except for Reed and the other two wanted to be associated with it.
And honestly, I honestly don't think they wanted to be associated with it either, because this ended up being a black budget line item.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no civilian government oversight on this program.
No.
They were told, find out what it is.
Yep. Here's the money. Do with it what you want.
So they started researching all of these reports, and even though not all the pilots or all the radar operators were reporting, they were getting reports in. And what they found was patterns. And everybody knows how much I like patterns.
Oh, yeah.
So, but the patterns were that these objects defied inertia. They outperformed any known aircraft tenfold. I mean, they could go from 20,000 feet in the air to right on the deck of the ocean in a matter of seconds, and our pilots couldn't even keep up with them.
Mm-mm.
And I'm not being in the military, I did learn a little bit about it. But as far as I know, we still have, even back then, the most technologically advanced aircraft. I mean, there may have been some of our allies that were close seconds, but
yeah, but we
were the leader of the pack.
Yeah.
Right. So they found out it was outperforming us. It wasn't even flying like a missile would. And I mean, missiles can go hypersonic.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that I was just reading about it or watching is like the Blackbird, to make a turn will take up, with as fast as they go, half the size, a little bit more than half the size of Ohio for them to turn.
Yep.
And these things are going at like, what they say, 40,000 miles an hour, and just stopping on a dime.
90-degree turns.
Yeah. And no issues. And then it kind of led into what you just said, that like there is nothing we have that can keep up with this. You can shoot at nothing, missiles, bullets, gun, anything. You're done. You can't keep up.
Yeah. And what they also found was they went back and they started interviewing the pilots that had actually reported, and they were putting out requests for more reports.
Mm-hmm.
Telling everybody,
Scooby Dooby Gooby,
telling everybody that, hey, your career's not going to be hurt if you come forward and talk to us. Come anonymous if you want. We don't care. We just want to talk to you. And what they found out after that was that these pilots had started reporting physiological symptoms, radiation burns with no known source, neurological issues after encounters with these aircraft, and environmental anomalies where after you'd seen it once, you'd continue seeing them more and more, like they were tracking you now.
Yep.
So I don't know. For anybody that doesn't know how the government works, under the Freedom of Information Act, if it is not classified at the highest level and my brain just shut off. If it's not classified at the highest level and deemed a threat to national security, you can file a Freedom of Information Act request.
Yep.
They will black out, they will redact anything that does pertain to national security.
But you'll get the rest. It's a bitch to get it.
It is. I'm still waiting on two FOIA requests for a simple marriage license.
Yeah, honestly, for this particular topic, if you want to find anything, go to the Black Vault.
Yeah.
That's all John Greenwald, I can't remember what his last name is. That's all he does is submit requests and put them on his website. So you can get everything there.
But the government has this little known thing where if you contract it out, then the whole thing can be classified and does not need to be sent out in a Freedom of Information Act request. So that's what AAWSAP did, is they contracted it out to somebody we've talked about here on the channel before.
Yep.
Mr. Robert Bigelow and Bigelow Aerospace. What was it? Bigelow Aerospace Study of Space.
Science, Space and Science or something like that.
Space and Science, yeah.
Yeah,
so this is where Bob Bigelow comes into the picture.
And I found that interesting because I knew you could submit FOIA requests. I just didn't know that's how they were getting around it, because you contract it out. Now nobody can find it. Doesn't matter. That's how they kept undercover for so long.
So they started letting Bob Bigelow research stuff. And the questions were simply, tell us the physics of what's going on. If consciousness plays a role, or what if these events aren't isolated? They were basically saying, we want you to go out and study if this is a threat to our country, our allies, or the world.
Yep.
And this wasn't just happening to our guys. We're a little slow on stepping up and researching this and getting it out of the public. Our European allies have been studying this I know we've been studying it, but they've been studying it a lot longer than we have. They've taken their pilots serious, where we kind of laughed and giggled at them.
Yeah, I've talked to more than a few people that live in different countries about how their government handles these types of things, and you said it right. They take them seriously. They'll listen to them. They don't say, okay, you're now no longer working for us. They don't have any issues. They want to know. And here it's like at that time, nobody wanted to say anything. They didn't want to end their careers, be deemed nuts.
This was pretty much the start of a lot of UFO shows. Granted, we had the movies back in the 70s and the 80s, but now you're starting to get into the alien invasion type of movies. I have not seen the Syrian UAP. I'll have to check that out. So, but in 2010, there was a funding problem because Harry Reid didn't think that the questions were being answered properly.
So he didn't want to spend any more money for it.
He didn't.
From my perspective, yeah, I want to know more. But from his perspective, if I was the one given the money and I wasn't getting my questions answered, I wouldn't spend any. I'd be done.
One of Senator Reed's biggest concerns is you're only focused on the military. This is a national security issue that should focus on commercial air travel. These are being seen across the sea. Is there any issues that we need to worry about with our navies, with our merchant marines, with the cargo vessels that are out there? So James Lukatsky went ahead and said, well, if you want, we'll go ahead and create a new program, and that will focus more on everything you're asking us to focus on.
Yep.
Well, that's when AATIP came about.
And this always kind of fascinated me because, as we were talking earlier, I always thought Elizondo, when he would, everybody just kind of assumed AATIP, Elizondo, he just happened to be there. But he was working for, I think it was the Pentagon, Department of Defense, and they kept calling him in to have interviews because they wanted him to lead it because of his intelligence background. And once he took the job, that's when kind of AATIP came about.
Yeah.
Syrian military. Sorry, I was reading that.
I'm definitely checking that out after the show. So before we get into AATIP, one of the things that came up, and this is actually, I didn't get a chance to put it on the screen, so forgive me for just showing on camera. This is from a FOIA request from the Department or the Defense Intelligence Agency.
Yeah.
And they've redacted a lot in here. And this was to refund Bigelow Aerospace and what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And the questions were supposed to be, is there a threat to our military? Is there a threat to our nation? The technical report review that was submitted, that's this page right here. Yeah, I wrote redacted here. That's all I do is just white out who the authors are. But this is what Lukatsky submitted to Senator Reed. And this is what not only the Bigelow Aerospace, but other contractors that were working on this program were working on. And they don't say where they got the information to start working on these programs, whether it's just theory or they actually have a real working program. But they were looking at inertial electrostatic confinement fusion. What? Pulse-powered based weaponry, which we now have.
Yes, we do.
Space-time modifications for spaceflight applications. Theory and experiments of invisibility cloaking, and not stealth technology, where you actually cloak a ship.
Yeah.
And again, we now have that. You're basically bending light. Wormholes in space-time. One that really fascinated me was gravity wave communications. Anti-gravity for aerospace applications. Field effects on biological tissues. Warp drives. Yes, the
Star Trek
warp drives. They were actually working on those.
Yep.
Programmable matter.
So like nanobots.
Yep. High energy laser weapons. Quantum entanglement communications. And advanced nuclear propulsion for deep space. This is one of the reasons that Senator Reed said enough.
Yeah.
You're not studying, are we at risk? You're basically putting us at risk before we even know if they're a threat. So the website that Alien Mike mentioned earlier, you can find this report on there.
Was that off Black Vault?
Huh?
Was that off Black Vault?
No, this actually came from the DIA's reading room.
Oh, okay.
You can go to the DIA's reading room, and if you know the title, you can download it. And that's all the FOIA requests that they put out, and you can just sit there and read them.
So that the one that I tried to send you earlier that I
That
couldn't
was part of
download.
that.
Yeah, that was what that is.
But yeah, what you tried to send me earlier was 38 different FOIA requests, and some of them were 60, 70 pages long.
Yeah.
And I opened up a few of them, and out of 60 or 70 pages, it was maybe 4 or 5 words on a page. Everything else had been redacted.
Yep.
And that was another thing that Harry Reid was upset about, is because it was a black budget line item, he couldn't request anything.
Mm-hmm.
So Lakatsky said, we'll change it, and they created AATIP, which is the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program.
And that was to actually focus on what they were supposed to focus on the first time.
Is this coming from an adversary? Is this new technology from somebody on our planet? Is this from outside? You know, we want to know, is this a threat? Yep. I like the things that Bigelow and others were working on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if we're going up against ships that can fly that fast and turn 90 degrees or do complete U-turns and continue flying without any issues, our high-powered laser is not going to do anything.
Yeah.
So in 2010, they funded AATIP, and
so let me, maybe you're going to say it, but they did AATIP in 2010, but they continued AAWSAP the whole, for another 2 years.
AAWSAP was still going until 2012.
What were they doing? I couldn't find anything on that. I didn't see anything on what they were doing from 10
they
to
were
12.
They were still doing the programs like funding Bigelow and funding other aerospace research programs.
Okay. Hi, Lilith.
And it was basically only because they had to let the contract run out with Bigelow and the others.
Okay.
You know, if they would have canceled everything, they would have still ended up paying them. So they're like, we're going to roll it into AATIP. Make sure you guys can still get the research done that they're doing for you. Because every report that I read, they had reports 2008, 2009. That one is 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Bigelow was doing a really good job on all of this. He was doing everything that AAWSAP was asking and doing it on time or sooner and under budget.
Bigelow has always taken things like this seriously. And they ask for something or he wants to know something, he'll get it done.
Yep. That's it. So AATIP was, like Mike said, it was just designed to be a threat detection. What is it? What is its intentions? Or what are their intentions or it? Because we still don't know what it is.
Yeah.
James Lakatsky was still in charge of both. And more contractors came in, such as Hal. I'm going to screw this name up.
Hal
Puthoff, and Eric Davis.
And Eric, yep. And they were the scientists behind it.
Yep. They had the credentials to come in
Yep.
and do the research.
If you listen to those two talk, they know their stuff.
They do.
They are extremely intelligent, and out of everybody that they could have gotten for the job, they were the best.
So, they started throwing more money at AATIP than they ever considered throwing at OSAP.
It was like $22 million.
Because one of the senators that was also helping to fund it was Ted Stevens. Mm-hmm. Senator Stevens was the senator for the great state of Alaska.
Yep.
And they have a ton of sightings up there.
Oh yeah, they have there's a specific area there. It's the Alaska Triangle, so it's the same as the Bermuda. That it's all centered around.
Yep. And the other thing is even though the Cold War was over, they're still really close to Russia, who has never had our best intentions in mind, even after the Cold War was over.
No, it's yeah, they are. There's 2 miles in between Alaska and the farthest point of Alaska, or the closest point to Russia and Russian territory. 2 miles.
You're gonna have to take it for a second, Mike.
Hey, you just kind of stop for a second. You okay? Take a drink.
Oh.
Okay, so
we're back.
Oh, right when I start going. Anyway, go ahead.
The thing about this whole program up to this point is none of these guys believe in aliens or little green men. That's not their intention on this program. They don't even want to mention the possibility of this being extraterrestrial, because that scares them more than we'll ever know.
Yep. So
with these physicists working on what it is, they had to get somebody who was great at intelligence. And Mike, I'll let you introduce him.
That would be Luis Elizondo, which a breakdown of his back. He worked for the Pentagon. He was in the Army first. He was an Army counterintelligence. Then he worked as a civilian intelligence officer for the DoD. And that's kind of what sparked their interest in getting him there. And that's when I think it was Lukatsky, brought him in.
It was.
Had him interviewed, and he talks about it in his book, and he says, I had no idea what they were doing. I had no interest in it. I didn't really believe it at first. I just kind of another opportunity to work, with somebody in a different department. And they told him what it was about, and he said, okay, I'll do it.
And if I'm not mistaken, not only was he a non-believer, he pretty much said, you guys are shitting me, right?
Yeah. He's just like, why the hell am I here? You're really going to spend money you're going to pay me to look for little green men and spaceships. And then he was told some stuff, and I believe I could be wrong, but I believe he said he was also shown some things while he was in the interview that he went, okay, there's something to this.
Yeah. Yeah. He definitely, when it was time for him to leave, he definitely did not have the I am a non-believer attitude anymore.
No. What I found interesting is when if you look at everything Elizondo says, is he was the head of AATIP. He was in charge of everything. He did it all. But if you look at people that are outside, they go, no, he wasn't in charge. He claimed he was the official in charge when he wasn't. So, I mean, I don't know if you noticed that pattern, but
I did.
I'm kind of
I
on the
mean,
fence on that.
at this point, Lakatsky still hadn't even disappeared.
No, he was still like he did the whole early part of AATIP. So
Yeah.
I think it was Elizondo. He was just more comfortable being in the spotlight. He didn't care what people thought. He was going to say what he thought needed to be said about it.
So what I got was Elizondo, like you said, he said he ran AATIP. He was the program director during its final years. And the Pentagon later stated that his role was overstated.
Yeah.
But what I found is both statements are true.
I think it depends on what year of AATIP it was in. So
he wasn't running the physicists.
No.
But yeah, he was the face of AATIP.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He was a spokesperson for it.
Yeah.
He had no problem arguing for the transparency of UFOs and that we should all be allowed to know what's going on.
So, so the program AATIP ran from 2012 to 2017. And in 2017, Elizondo left.
Yep.
And he left quietly, right, Mike?
Yeah, I believe he just kind of, from everything I've seen and read in the book, he just kind of was done. He got fed up with the way they were doing it. He just didn't want to do it anymore. And what I find intriguing is they say that, it ended in 2017. Well, there's a lot of stuff that says it continued, that it's still continuing, and that we just don't know about it.
I would honestly believe that, and I would hope so.
Yeah,
because they still haven't answered the primary question: is this a threat? They don't have an answer.
No, and if you can't, I should have asked you earlier, but that diagram that I sent you earlier, that says from AAWSAP all the way up to AARO and what they focus on. That's just, if that's something you can put on the screen, that would be great. That's a perfect representation of how these programs are, like what they focus on.
Okay, here in a second. Why am I looking at your weather? Oh, I'm way okay. Give me a second.
I'll see if I can't grab it too. Oh, here you go. I already have it up. So let me go to share. Oh, you can't? Okay. Yeah, that right there describes it perfectly. It doesn't show AAWSAP on there, but AAWSAP was just kind of the beginning, the precursor to everything. So it was still covert and extremely experimental. Like they didn't know what was going to
and focused more on defense rather than what the hell is this?
Yep. And then AATIP came out and they focused mainly on, protection. Is it a threat? And I initially, after starting, to read his Elizondo's book and listening to his podcast and his interviews, I love the guy. I mean, I'm glad he did what he did, but there's a part of me that thinks he just wanted to be in the spotlight.
I think that's part of it, but I do like that he left frustrated, and he left thinking that people deserve to know what's going on.
Yep, and that's why he left, because they wouldn't. There was no. I mean, he argued for years for government transparency. You need to tell the people, and they kept coming back saying, "Look, we're not going to tell the people. There's going to be mass hysteria. People can't handle it. Well, they can, and that's your job, to let the people know what's going on. And when they wouldn't do it, he said, I'm done.
You look at the amount of people who may not join MUFON but are following them, and all of these other UFO reporting agencies. They're getting more and more followers daily because the people can handle it.
Yeah. If we couldn't, why would everybody from both sides, people that believe it, want them to admit it, and people that don't believe it, they want to know. They want to say, okay, well, if it's real, then prove it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter which side you're on. And so when there wasn't that transparency, when they wouldn't admit it and they wouldn't talk about it, he just kind of melted into the background.
Now,
like I can't do it anymore.
In 2017, when he left, something else happened. The Navy officially changed UFO to UAP, which is now, it's become worldwide. And I, like Mike shaking his head right now, I thought the same thing.
I get why they did it. Until
I look at the stigma the 3 letters UFO brings.
That's they did it for that. And when they started talking about the UFOs aren't necessarily coming from space, they're coming from our oceans. So, but they also fly. So that categorizes both of them into one acronym. But I don't care. I know I'm not as old as some people, but I'm old school with this stuff, and it's UFO. It'll always be UFO to me.
But you're right. I'm with Scooby Dooby right here. We are not alone in the universe. There's no way.
I don't care. I think it'd be awesome if they all came out and said, yeah, here it is. And here's the proof, but I don't need it. I mean, even if they don't, it's not going to change my opinion regardless.
So Elizondo leaves, and a young man by the name of Jay Stratton steps in from the Navy, and he took AATIP and created the UAP Task Force.
Yep.
And later on, figures such as Dr. Travis Taylor showed up, and a few others. Now, and again, we're still not bringing in people that believe.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Taylor? He's the one that was on that new Skinwalker with Brian or whatever the heck his name is.
Yeah, he's on.
He's the dude from Alabama.
Skinwalker Ranch. Yeah. He has been on Ancient Aliens.
Yeah.
But if you listen to him on Ancient Aliens, even though it's aliens, he's a skeptic in that show.
He's the one, if I'm correct, that's from like Alabama, right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. If I'm not mistaken, he holds 3 PhDs.
Yeah.
Speaks with a very, very thick Southern accent.
Yeah.
And is basically a rocket scientist.
Yep.
He knows propulsion. He knows. He's worked at JPL. He's worked at NASA. He's worked at the Space Center in Huntsville. Yep. He knows what he's doing. And even he's saying, there is nothing we have that comes close to what you're showing me.
Yeah.
This was all still classified.
Yeah.
But now our government is finally saying, we're going to question you. We're not going to give you a black bag budget and let you just run rampant with our money.
Yeah.
So these guys got to go in and testify before Congress.
Yeah. And I didn't even know about Taylor having anything to do with it or the task force until you brought him up, a year or so ago. And you said, look, did you know that? No, had no clue. All I knew is him from that show, the Skinwalker show.
The Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch, he hid it from them and had to come in and let him know after he was done. And he said, there's still things I can't talk about from that meeting. But I just want you guys to know that, yes, I sat on the UAP task force.
Yeah.
Did he come out a believer? No, he he leans more towards believing now, but he's still not 100% a believer.
Right.
But again, the one thing that hasn't happened up to this point, 3 different agencies, we're about to go into AARO. The question, what is it, still has not been answered. Is it a threat?
And that's why I think AARO, they did that, which that is still new to me. I still don't know much about that one, but you said it right. The questions aren't being answered. So then they create a new organization and say, no, now you're going to answer the questions. And then they don't get answered. Well, now we're going to create a new organization, and they don't get the questions answered. It just keeps going.
Yeah.
And
AARO it became the first congressionally mandated.
Yeah.
So they don't answer to DIA, they don't answer to the DOD,
Nope.
They don't answer to anybody. They answer to Congress.
Yep.
And there's still no answers through AARO. I'm not 100%. I just learned about AARO today, so I haven't really researched it.
Yeah,
it's so we're not going to get too much into AARO. But what happens when you get all of these guys that have served in the AAWSAP, the AATIP, the UAP TIP, AARO? What happens when these guys leave frustrated? And Mike, I'm going to turn it over to you for that.
Well, then it turns into the big, huge Trump will release new stuff soon to try and attract. So it was 2023. I think it was September 9th. I could be wrong. They did a huge thing where they had David Grush, David Fravor, all the pilots and people that worked on the Nimitz back in 2004, that they were over off the coast of California doing all their training exercises. I believe is all they were doing. And then they had somebody that on the radar, they kept picking up something and they wanted them to check it out. And that's when we got video of the Tic Tac. But still at the time, nobody wanted to say anything because they didn't know what was going to happen. You didn't know if you were going to have a job after. Yeah. And so everybody, back to what you said, they're leaving these organizations. They're no longer, they're retired now or unemployed. And they set up the meeting with Congress and say, look, we're going to blow the whistle on all of this. You need to tell us everything that's going on. And that's kind of where David Grush came in and said, look, I was there. I saw it. This is my role in it. Here's what happened. Here's who I told. And you guys have done nothing with that information. And it's about time you do. And it's still, even watching it multiple times, I try not to, because it doesn't waver what it'll never sway what I believe, but it's okay. If you're going to be a whistleblower, like I told you earlier, then regardless of you made that choice, blow the whistle, say everything and get it out there. Like Elizondo in this movie, he said flat out, if I end up floating down the Potomac one day, you're going to know why, because I'm telling you everything. But there's stuff that Grush just wouldn't say in the meeting. They would ask him and he wouldn't tell them. And it's like, well, and I get from, the respects of what you said, you're still working for the government. You're still under contract. You can completely screw yourself, but why? Why even whistleblow at that point? Why not wait? But it all came down.
You're going to screw yourself no matter what.
Yeah. And he's going to discredit himself eventually. So you might as well do it. And I think it did help a lot with transparency. He proved that people are more open to it than they thought. And then after that led into the 2025. I think it was 25.
Yeah, it was 25 last September.
Okay. That one was in September. So the other one was in like November, December, or something like that in 23. I didn't watch. I only watched like a half hour of that one, so I can't tell you what has gone into that. but I know Elizondo was on it, and he said pretty much all the same stuff. Like, look, you guys need to have more transparency. They would ask questions. He would give them answers. But other than that, I don't know what else was on that particular meeting.
So that one was more whistleblowers, but the second meeting was also George Knapp.
Yes, he was on it. And George Knapp, I like. I didn't hear what he said. But he believes the same, it's all about transparency.
Yeah.
And again, with what was said earlier by, I think it was probably Scooby, it doesn't matter if they prove it or not. Like, it's not going to change my beliefs. But I'm not everybody else, and everybody else isn't me. So people have a right to know. If there's a threat, we have a right to know. If it's not a threat, we have a right to know. And once Congress...
The only problem is it's not the NDA that they signed. It's the security clearances that they hold. Yep. They lose those security clearances. They lose their government contracting jobs. Elizondo's still a contractor. Lakatsky's still a contractor. You lose that. They don't care if you come out and blow the whistle and say, this is everything I know. But they will pull your security clearance that quick.
And that's what I've always loved about Elizondo is there are serious things that he just can't talk about, or he just won't talk about. But generally, they have nothing to do with being transparent about it. So he just doesn't care. He'll tell you. So,
right. Scooby just got it. Treason is the reason.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And the thing is like you mentioned earlier, it's not just us, it's other countries, other nations. They're going through stuff too. They have their governments looking into stuff, but
yeah. Well, you get into the country of Chile. They're very open about it. Sweden, when we talk to, they are open about what's going on.
Yeah, because
the United Kingdom is not 100% open, but they're way more open than we are.
Yeah, and so I think I guess I want to know what's the key difference. Why are all these other countries that may not be fully open but are more open about discussing this and admitting things than we are? Like, why don't they want us to know?
Well, I'll answer Nadine's question first. As far as I know, no country has come forward and said we acknowledge aliens, but several countries have come forward and said we acknowledge the possibility.
Yeah. Well, even Carl said on the Sweden episode that, they may not have come right out and said that, but they will admit that they've seen stuff. They're putting their time and money and effort into it, and they're letting everybody know what they're getting.
Yeah.
So
to answer your question, I really don't have an answer. I don't want to say that our government is trying to be overprotective parents, but that's basically, in my opinion, that's basically what it is. If we tell you that we have something at Area 51, you guys are going to all freak out. And what they don't realize is at this point in history, we're going to be like, yeah, we know. And
it goes back to what I said. The people that believe are going to go, yeah, we knew all along. The people that don't believe, they're going to say, okay, well, you actually proved me I was wrong.
Yeah.
So they're not going to freak out.
Okay. I think Lilith's got it too. I've always been one of those guys that I'm 100% born and raised American, raised my right hand to go defend this country, bleed red, white, and blue.
Yep.
But I will admit that we are not the only smart nation in the world.
No.
Why did it take China and some of our allies so long to come up with stealth technology? Where for us, I know if you go back and look in the history, we were working on it all the way back to the 60s and the 70s. But all of a sudden, one day, we roll out the stealth fighter and then the stealth bomber. And 15, 20 years later, other smart countries are like, yeah, we got one too.
Sure.
That still can't beat radar, can still be spotted. And we're now rolling out, what is it, 5th generation or 6th generation fighter jets that are all stealth.
Yeah, once this, they talk about it in the movie that we're going to do next episode, or the part 2. But with this, the reason that we have the new generations of aircraft, that everything was updated, was because of this.
Yeah.
That they wanted to, like, the radar, they couldn't get things properly on radar because of the way the craft works. So they've upgraded everything for that reason, so that if they come across something, they can do what they need to do.
Will these people believe in proof of non-terrestrials? No. The ones that don't believe in the moon landing, they'll flat out tell everybody that it's a big Hollywood hoax.
Yeah.
But I mean, the stealth technology goes right back to this that Bob Bigelow was studying under AAWSAP.
Yeah.
So where do we get, in a matter of 2 years, space-time modifications for spaceflight applications? And this isn't just reports that they're writing. This is like, it could be a working model. It could be a theory that's right on the verge of becoming a working model.
Well, let's go off of this hypothesis then. You text me something earlier that said, hey, I'm listening to this interview or something with Bob Bigelow and
I was about to bring that up.
It's like, yeah, I knew they were friends. Okay, well, if they're constantly talking about Area 51 and this type of thing, knowing they're both into it, and Lazar has openly admitted since the late 80s, early 90s, whenever it was, that he worked on alien spacecraft and anti-gravity and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden Bigelow's working with AAWSAP and doing that.
Yeah.
So,
and I didn't mention this in the text. Do you know who else he's friends with? George Knapp.
Oh, yeah.
So all three of them, I mean, I don't know how good of friends they are, but at this point, all three of them in the story, all three of them went out to the little alien to go out and look at Area 51. And the question that Joe Rogan had was, do you believe Bob Lazar?
Mm-hmm.
And it was basically, I can't say yes or no, because Wackenhut would come get me.
Yeah.
Unless you have been there, you wouldn't know at that time that Wackenhut was camo dudes.
Yeah.
So has Bigelow been on Area 51? After saying that, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, 100%. You've seen the videos of camo dudes. Do they wear any patches that have the company logo on it? It is just plain desert.
It's like they went to Army, Navy, and got retired military camo that all the insignia has been pulled off of.
Yeah. And other people that have studied Area 51 would have said that it was, I I'm going to just call them the 3G. They were the security before Wackenhut.
Mm-hmm.
And they went out of business. I don't know the full name, but it's 3 last names put together. So there is no way. I started doing deep dives trying to find it. And I could not find anything on who security was. And Bob Bigelow just spits it out like that.
Yep.
Right after that interview, there was an interview with a senior member of the Department of Defense who had visited Area 51 and was on the Joe Rogan show. And he was asked, yeah, it was Wackenhut, the security company. But he was asked, when you were out there, what did you see? He said, well, without violating any classified information, I saw training that was going on. I saw work on national defense programs. And the interviewer said, did you see any aliens? And most people would say, well, no. What this guy said was, it's a large base with several other areas around. And the guy said, oh, you mean like S4? Do you believe Bob Lazar? And he said, Bob Lazar's a little out there, but I don't not believe him.
Yep.
This is a senior guy from the Department of Defense. You could tell he's really trying to get his answers to fit where it's not going to get him in trouble.
Yep. He wants to say, yeah, 100%. This is, yeah. But like, okay, shit, well, how do I do it without getting my ass kicked out?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, when it comes to things like that, it's, if I was in those positions, there's the part of me that says, you know what? I want to tell the truth or my truth no matter what. And I don't care what happens. But then there's the adult side of you that wants to go, okay, well, I don't want to completely ruin my life and my family's life and all of that. So I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Yep.
But it's like, I think was it Scooby? Somebody said it earlier that said, let's see, if someone says shut up or you could disappear, will you continue? And
I will say right here, I will continue.
That, from my perspective,
you go off the air and I go downstairs and there's somebody knocking on my door, my answer could change quick.
Oh yeah. See, that's the thing is, people that say they're going to do something no matter what it is, until it's happened or until you're presented with that, you really don't know how you're going to react in that situation. So
what Scooby just mentioned, I've actually heard that before.
Nixon showed Jackie the aliens in Homestead Air Base. They both live near there. Yep, I heard about that as well.
So, yeah, if you came up to me, if you know, I know this is overused, but men in black show up at my door and say, shut up or else we take you out, I'd be like, I'm going to keep talking forever.
Mm-hmm.
But I come up to you as a man in black and I'm like, Alien Mike, you need to shut up or your kids disappear.
That's a different situation.
These guys know what they're doing.
Yeah. See, I mean, I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but there was a topic I was involved with last night that was with a friend of mine from Canada. And they basically, what I said, and I think it kind of applies here as well. If somebody was trying to, come into my home like that, yeah, depending on what the reasons are, I don't know. I don't want to. I think you know where I'm going with this.
I do.
You're not making it inside.
Yeah, I have. Not a lot of people know this, but for the past 7-8 years, I've actually been writing a book. And it's a complete book of fiction,
Right.
but it's a book on somebody that was recruited into the Men in Black program, but not like the alien Men in Black.
Mhm.
You know, the guys that actually go out and shut you up because you're giving away secrets and things like that. And one of the things that I came up with, I got this from a movie, or probably several movies, but how how would you feel if I just walk up to you and don't say a word to you? I just hand you a picture of your wife and kids out shopping, and then I walk away.
Yeah, because I mean the rational person, I mean, just in my opinion, you would, or the normal person, maybe not rational, you would want to essentially go after that person. You want to attack that person. But then the logical part would say, shit, I can't do anything because they obviously have the picture. So there's more than just that person involved.
Yeah. And it
So
could be all me. I could have got that picture a half an hour before I came to see you.
Yeah.
But in your mind, you've already known you've done something wrong.
Yeah.
This strange guy just came up and handed you a picture of your family and then walked away without saying a word. I don't need to do any more than that. I have just messed with your mind so bad.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be quiet on your own.
Yeah. It really goes back to what you said. It's right now I'm saying here, well, yeah, if you try to come and tell me to shut up or you try to enter my home, yeah, you're not making it through the door. But when you're presented with that scenario, you really don't know what you're going to do because you don't know how your emotions are going to act. You know, and
yeah. All right. I'm going to, as soon as I can get my mouse to work.
Yeah, as that statement's fall on deaf. Yes, that right there. That
all right. This one should have gone first.
Now your access to media, and and believes in UFOs is such a tainted concept. See, that's goes back to when you're talking about them changing it to UAP. That is, I don't like that they changed it to UAP, but I get it because when I would talk to people about UFOs, they would just look at me as, are you fucking crazy? You know, you should be in a nut house. Why would you believe this shit? You're an idiot. And when you start talking about UAPs, it has a different meaning now, which I've never understood this because all UFO means is something flying in the air that you don't know what it is. It's just an object that's flying. You can't identify it.
Look,
until you know what it is. I don't even know what you threw.
It's a UFO.
It's unidentified.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's a UFO. But that's unfortunately not the way most society works.
They look at Mel Gibson from Signs wearing the tinfoil hat and running around his house. I'm insane with anger.
Yep. I was actually going to put a tinfoil hat on today.
I was thinking about it.
Yeah. Like, this is the perfect one.
So this is, I think this is the first episode that we've done that we can't say, what's your opinion? Because this is all public record.
Yeah. It's
I mean, here's some of the players right here. James Lukatsky. We've talked about him. He was the architect of AAWSAP. He's also the co-author of Skinwalkers at the Pentagon.
Yep.
Luis Elizondo, former U.S. Army counterintelligence officer, Pentagon official, wrote the
author
book
of this, but I don't know. Can you see that on the screen, Steve?
Yep.
It's probably backwards, but
no, it's fine.
Oh, okay. It looks backward to me in the screen, but yeah, that's the book he wrote.
Jay Stratton, while he's not an author, he has wrote several classified documents about UFOs. Dr. Travis Taylor is an aerospace engineer, a physicist, and a former NASA contractor, the chief scientist of the UAP Task Force. He's done an introduction to planetary defense, Backyard Starship, it was kind of a fiction book, and several published articles in scientific journals. I mean, not just a dozen or so. He's done many. Hal Puthoff, or however you pronounce his name, Hal, I know you're not listening, but I apologize. The Physics of Zero Point Field, and numerous technical papers on quantum mechanics. Eric Davis wrote many classified and unclassified research papers on the subject. Harry Reid was the one that started it. Senator Ted Stevens, longtime U.S. Senator from Alaska. And I'm going to give it a shot. And I know that the people on the chat can't correct me verbally. Senator Don Inouye. I am screwing that up so bad. And I feel bad because he's a U.S. Senator and a World War II veteran. And one of the things he really stood up for is his time in the Senate is defense appropriations and the defense of the country. Bob Bigelow, we don't even need to go into what he's done.
Yeah.
David Grush, former Air Force intelligence officer and investigator. Christopher Mellon, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence.
Yep.
You know, these are all the players in what we've talked about tonight. This is not one of those, well, it could be phony. They're all full of crap.
Well, wait till we do the part 2 and you watch this movie. All those players, there's more than that are in this.
I didn't have enough paper to print up just what I found.
Yeah.
Researching on my own. I can't wait for part 2.
Yeah, I started making a list of everybody that I saw come on and what their role was, what their occupation was, how or what they even, why they're on the show, why they're talking about this, you know, what did they experience, all that. And it's nonstop. There are so many people on it. And it's all government officials that have something to do with this.
And I honestly think at this point, I'm throwing all 47 pages over here because I'm done with the notes. With everything that's going on now, our government needs to say they can handle it. Let's tell them what's going on.
Yeah. I hope I'd love to see it. I'd love to see them do it, but
will we ever know what's going on in Area 51? No,
absolutely not.
But if they open the books, would we find out that Roswell, New Mexico was not a weather balloon? Because once you open the floodgates from here going forward, you might as well open the floodgates and say, hey, Roswell happened.
Yeah.
I think the last time I even looked at a poll when they come up to the anniversary of Roswell, the polls are always a majority of Americans think, yeah, our government's hiding crap from us. That's not a weather balloon. And unlike what President Clinton said, it's not a weather balloon that dropped a dummy.
Yep. It all comes down to transparency. People aren't stupid.
Well, I just thought of something after I said that. Maybe that's why they're not coming forward. Because as soon as they come forward and say, yeah, it all happened and it's still happening today, we're going to start looking at them going, and what else are you lying about?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Not that we're not saying that now. But all of a sudden, all the conspiracy theorists like myself, and I know you believe in some conspiracies, even the ones that even the ones that are so far out there.
I'm on Disclosure Tonight every week. It just opened up for tonight's podcast at 9 p.m. I've never even Disclosure Tonight.
I'm going to check that out.
Is that Scooby? Is that on YouTube? Live podcast?
But, you know, all of a sudden you're now questioning the information we got from about the JFK assassination. You know, there are just so many conspiracies that you're going to start questioning if they open this up. But that's not going to be a majority of the Americans. That's just going to be, you know, whack nuts like me.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, I got nothing else.
I don't think I have anything else. Not until next.
Do you want to introduce what we're doing for part 2? Yeah, we will. I'll be checking that out, Scooby.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely look at that disclosure or disclosure. But I'll find it. So next episode, or the part 2, will be on the Age of Disclosure. It's the movie that came out. Was it the end of the year? I can't remember the exact time it came out. I thought it was the end of last year, or it could have been the beginning of this year. Let me pull it up real quick.
I'm going to beat you to it. 2025. Last year.
Yep. Said it at the same time.
Actually, initial release was March 9th, 2025.
Couldn't have been, because I didn't know about it then. But if you look at the cast of, you know, there's Hal Puthoff, Elizondo Stratton, Marco Rubio, Eric Davis, David Fravor. I mean, the list goes on and on. Alex Dietrich, Ryan Graves, Chris Mellon, Kirsten Gillibrand, James Clapper, Mike Gallagher, Rounds, Crenshaw, Feddersen, Travis Taylor, Gary Nolan, like all the people, Anna Paulina Luna, Terry Lovelace.
Yeah, it's going to talk about 34 different people involved in this.
Yeah,
in the disclosure and whistleblowers.
Yeah,
disclosure. Okay. Disclosure tonight.
Okay. Yeah, I typed in Disclosure Tonight. Let me see if I can. Disclosure Tonight live stream. Wait.
Oh, I missed one of Lilith's comments. They were going so fast, I missed it. The schizoid nature of UFO discussion is fascinating. Sounds crazy, but let me tell you a story. No one will swear to it. Everyone, or many people, has an experience to relate.
Okay, so it's, I don't know if you can see it, but
yep,
yeah.
I got it.
Disclosure Tonight live, Thomas Fessler. I'm gonna subscribe now.
So
sweet.
I know, kind of a dry episode, and not the it can go either way type thing, but Alien Mike and I both thought it was important because, I mean, if they get more and more disclosure, it opens up a lot more doors for what we can talk about. You know, we start hearing more and more stories,
and every episode we do that relates to UFOs in one way or another, it will explain all of that. That's it. That's it. Very good.
So if anybody wants to do the research we're going to do, it's The Age of Disclosure.
Yep. The movie. I've watched it twice now. There's still like it. You might have to watch it more than once. There's things that I've missed each time, you know, because it's not like a movie that just draws you in, but it's good.
Yeah. So Mike, I guess with that, man.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Ooh, almost screwed up on two things. Hit that like and subscribe button.
Yep.
I wish.
And the
I
little
wish we had
bell.
a thumbs. Oh, we do have a thumbs down. If you don't like it, hit the thumbs down.
Is there a thumbs down?
Yeah, I just looked over. There is a thumbs down.
Oh, hell yeah. Hit the thumbs down. Research the bodies on moment of contact. Let me pull this up.
So, yeah, hit that like and subscribe. We are going to start posting videos because for those, we're leaving our weekly segment and doing every other week.
Yeah. So
So
are we going to do then? Because this was the last one
yeah.
before we go.
Part 2 will be February 20th.
Okay, so we're not going to do what we had already scheduled.
No.
Okay. No. We'll do part 2 then, 2 weeks from today.
But again, there's going to be some videos posted. There's going to be some shorts pointing back to some old episodes. There's going to be some teasers for the Age of Disclosure and future episodes. So you're still going to be seeing content from us. It's just the live is going to be every other week starting now.
Oh, okay, hold on. I got it. Yes, but 1 second, Steve. So when Scooby said, okay, hold on. Let me grab it right here. Have you read this one? On the guy that heads Brazil's MUFON. Yeah, his name is, I can't even pronounce his first name. It's Tiago Tichetti. But that case is in there.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, that's all I had. Like you said, it wasn't as exciting of an episode as we normally do, but it all leads into the Age of Disclosure movie, which is phenomenal. And then it kind of, I think it ties everything together and why we have the information we have, and only the information.
And you know, if they do come out and start disclosing everything, that's not going to shut down the whack nuts like me. We'll still be able to say, all right, we're going to give you the Poughkeepsie alien abduction story, and still let you decide.
Yeah.
So it's not guaranteed that whatever they finally release, that all of a sudden all the questions are answered and everything's right with the world or whatever.
Yeah.
It's still going to leave a lot of unanswered questions, but it's nice that it's getting out there.
Yeah.
To be more mainstream now, and people aren't having to be afraid of believing in something.
Yeah, it'll. I mean, all I can say is it'll be interesting to see what happens if it all gets released.
So I doubt it'll ever get all released, but I think we're heading in the right direction finally.
Yep.
All right.
It only took us 60 years.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, with that
being said, you guys have a great evening.
Yep. Thanks for joining us.
And stay spooky.
Yep. We'll see you next time.